Hello people of the internet, it's Amanda, and today's video is kind of like different from my usual content, but then again not really. This is something that I've been trying to avoid for a really long time now because I honestly feel like I'm not qualified to talk about vocals or dancing or performances professionally because again I don't have any professional training and all of those things. I'm just someone who's just really obsessed with analyzing performances, researching on them, and that's why sometimes I tend to talk like I know what I'm talking about, but it's really coming more from the standpoint of someone who just really enjoys doing these types of things. If you follow me on Twitter, then you would have probably seen some of my threads analyzing vocals or dancing or visuals or anything like that when it comes to performances of artists that I do enjoy, and that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. I'm quite nervous about this one since again this is the first time that I'm doing it in video form, and to again put it out there and reiterate this, I am no professional. I am not an expert when it comes to these fields. I just absolutely enjoy watching performances and just nitpicking details from them, and this is also coming from the standpoint of a fan, so that will definitely affect how I react to the particular video that we're going to be talking about today. With all that said, so today's video is going to be focused on kinpuri's Ichiban YouTube edit music video. Now this is the lead track for their fourth upcoming album, and they've already teased that this is going to be again very experimental in nature as compared to the initial image that they have, which is very royal, very anything like that. But they've always challenged that image in their past couple of releases, and it's not surprising that they went into this direction as well for their fourth album. But what really interested me when they talked about it previously was number one, they did the song in collaboration with Creva, who is one of Japan's most well-known hip-hop artists, and he's also one of Show's favorite artists. So he talked about it in a tweet that he was the one who pitched this entire idea and they got a go signal for it, so they got to work with Creva for this particular track, which is really cool. Like, because of Show, I started listening to Creva as well, I think for 2-3 years now, and that's why I have some sort of grasp when it comes to Creva's music. It's always been that kind of like hip-hop, but kind of like chill type of hip-hop, very reminiscent of like more 90s to early 2000s type of the genre as compared to now where hip-hop is a lot more heavy and aggressive and anything like that. But Creva's music still has that 90s to early 2000s kind of like vibe to it, which is very similar to how Ichiban turned out. And then when the details for the album came out, so it was also made known that Rihata, or the Queen of Swag, who is half Japanese and half Filipino, was the one who choreographed this number. And in her portfolio, so Rihata has BTS, NCT, other Western artists, as well as LDH, which is another Japanese entertainment agency that focuses more on these kind of like hip-hop dance heavy type of discography, which is very different from what Johnny's or typical Johnny's music sounds like. But that's why it's kind of interesting, because again it's a melting pot of like these different kinds of like sounds and techniques put into this particular lead track, and that's why I was really excited about it. Another thing is that Rihata also performed with Melvin Tim before, who was the choreographer for Magic Touch, which is another one of kinpuri's more earlier releases that had this more of like dynamic and very experimental sound that really pushed for this image that they were trying to like to really kind of like show their range and versatility as a group. So all of these things, all of these things back before the music video came out was really kind of interesting to me. I've been loving watching a lot of like choreography videos prior to learning more about what Ichiban would be like. And then at the same time, when I found out about Hiata, I ended up watching her choreography videos and even the videos of the artists that that she helped choreograph in terms of their tracks, and I sort of like gotten an idea of her style, and it's really more groove based rather than, you know, it's not really more of like a snappy and heavy, but there are elements of that, but it's really more of just driving and grooving into the music, which again is very, very reminiscent of 90s to early 2000s hip-hop styles, rather than the more, you know, aggressive new types of sounds that we've been getting lately. Now, that's quite a lot in a mouthful. So with that said, let's just proceed to just, you know, dissecting this music video. So it starts off, now the idea for ichiban is apparently this fusion of, you know, Japanese sound and Japanese style, which is what kinpuri is trying to push for, made in, you know, made in Japan, made in Johnny's, made by King and Prince. And it mixes this American element to it that is the influence for, you know, the style of how the video was made in the choreography. And so it starts off with, you know, again, the mix of the music with the sound of like Japanese instruments at the background, mixed with the, you know, a deeper kind of like beat. Of course, I couldn't play it because, you know, copyright. Now, this intro was something that I wasn't expecting, because obviously, even with their older dance tracks, it was really more of like a certain build-up of, you know, again, the usual structure of songs where it's kind of like this intro and then it builds up before you hit the chorus. But then for this one, they just really went right on it with the main track. Another thing that I noticed for this particular video, which is really, really kind of like new and fresh to me, were their expressions in dancing. Now, for those who are familiar with the, like, you know, again, hip hop, but it really reminds me more of, you know, like, Filipinos love music and Filipinos love to dance, and there's this certain idea of like just a play with facial expressions and anything like that that's very, very prominent, whether it's just your usual street dance competition in your neighborhood or the school Christmas party, or even in grand scale competitions that usually dancers have. And here in the Philippines, that's very, very prominent. So seeing their facial expressions in this particular video was really kind of like fresh to me in a kinpuri context, but also not so fresh to me since I'm very familiar with that kind of vibe just because of the entire, you know, culture. And again, very influenced by the American hip hop, you know, like it's not just the movements, but complete with a facial expression. So I really, really love how it is. Like previously, Kaito was the only one who's really having like all that facial expressions whenever he's dancing, but here all of them are just having fun with it. Yeah, the opening line, very, very catchy, you know, it's really upfront out there, immediately like hitting you with what the song is about. It's really just trying to reach for the top and just hitting that goal and anything like that. So very, very powerful entry. Now, but the next part, now, people who know me know that my oshi or my ichi or my favorite member from kinpuri is Hiranosho. But at the same time, I've also developed this habit of just making fun of him whenever I can. And I had no plans to like make fun of him while I was watching this, guys, because I watched this during when the video premiered. But I literally had to pause when I started, when the track suddenly transitioned into a rap, because I don't know why, I feel like I was just taken aback by it. His rap in the intro is not exactly my favorite, and if I'm being honest, but a lot of my friends seem to like just really, really like it. So I'm not sure if it's just me, you know, developing this out of habit of making fun of my oshi. But at the same time, you know, I mean, throughout the entire video it was fine. It's just that this particular intro, I'm not sure just how I still feel about it, but yeah. But the attitude is kind of like, you know, owning it, so it's fine. I think Kaito really owned rap his rap in this particular song. I usually look to Jin whenever it's rapping for Kinpuri, but I think Kim and Kaito really stepped up for this particular video when it comes to just the vocals. I didn't expect them to rap this much in this particular track. Like, I kind of expected they will because again, it's Creva. But also at the same time, like, I just didn't expect it to be to this extent. So maybe that also added to the initial shock factor as to why I ended up just, you know, laughing in amusement when the track started. Now, in this particular part, I was really like, I really love how Ren and Kishi's vocals blended. Like, I think I've talked about this before, aside from Ren and Kishi's vocals, whenever they're harmonizing, especially when the song requires a little bit of like a higher pitch, is something that I absolutely just really love getting from them. And I feel like the transition from Jin's really low note when he was rapping, and then like transitioning into their part was just really good, and one of my favorite parts in the entire video. I also like the combination of how it transitions from these types of like a more modern, undiscernible type of set, and then there's a more like with more traditional types of elements, and then it would transform later into the chorus part, which is again this entire like Japanese inspired aesthetic that they have going on with the stairs at the back, but you couldn't really see the end of the stairs because again the essence of the song is really climbing your way up to the top and just doing everything you can to be able to like reach it, and that's kind of like that goal thing, and I really like the metaphor that it kind of like stands for. Though, now that I'm looking at the music video, I feel like again this circle right here, it kind of looks like the circle in the chorus. So it's also kind of like this imagery of them already picturing themselves at that peak or at that goal. But then, you know, it's kind of like this back and forth kind of like process. I mean, this is just me over analyzing, I guess, the visuals of the music video in a way, but if you look at it, there's definitely a parallelism between the circle that they have going on in the middle of the video, and then after, like when it's the stairs part for the chorus, where that's where the stairs are leading. So this is, you know, the look that they have going on, like this kind of like goal that they're able to like picture it and see it. I just really like that kind of like, I don't know, subtle detail, I guess, or maybe it's just me trying to look more into it. So yeah. I also like this one. This is very like 90s, early 2000s kinds of visualization where you're just looking down at the camera and then again there. So their outfits for this one, they've been having this like red theme going on for, I guess, for their last single, Love in You, Odoru Yoni Jinsei wo, as well. Odoru Yoni Jinsei wo. I kind of like completely just butchered that one, but yeah, for their last single. And then now they also have this color going on, and I kind of like it in a way that, you know, obviously with groups there's always like the member color thing, right? But then recently for Kinpuri, that's not really an issue. Like member colors are usually just present whenever it's in the concerts, but when it comes to like the visuals or anything in their music videos or their other things, you know, it's really not a non-issue. And then when the costumes, red signifies, you know, a lot of like fire and passion and anything like that. In terms of the recent singles and the albums and how aggressively they've been talking about, you know, changing up this image constantly and challenging their image constantly and experimenting, and it kind of like really shows with a strong color palette that they've been using, with especially with red at the center of it. So I just really like that. I also like this particular part where there was just dance, because again, they've never been this expressive in their music videos. Even Kaito, I think Kaito's a lot more expressive when it comes to more live performances or for anything like that. But for in music videos, this is the most expression and fun that I've seen them have, and I think that really adds to like the atmosphere of the video, and at the same time what I feel about it as a fan. So it's just nice seeing them, you know, just having a lot of fun. This part, I've had people DM me, scream at me in DMs and just whatever about this particular part. And I know, I mean, as I've mentioned earlier, he's my favorite member, so obviously this part hits kind of like different. But why are people in my DMs shouting to me about it? I know, and whoever allowed this, I don't know if I should thank you, if I should just, I don't know. But needless to say, obviously this is one of my favorite parts of the music video because of the energy, because of just the tone of his voice when he was delivering the lines for this part. So yeah. I like this part, and they were just like, I don't know, it's just really fun for me. Again, and then Kaito with the rapping. I think I've talked about this before, but Jin's vocals is definitely one of my favorite improvements from the group ever since they debuted. I mean, all of them have definitely evolved vocally, which I'm not sure if I will if I will make a video about that in the future. But I think Jin is one of my favorite improvements. Again, when just there's definitely a lot of texture in his voice now and a lot of expression as compared to like in their earlier years, at least in my observation, and I really love that. And I've just been loving his register a lot lately, so especially for this particular song. And his vibe lately is just kind of like different. I don't know what it is. Ren's vocals when it comes to these types of songs, like it's a lot more smoother, and definitely, like, you know, he's definitely one of the pitchier members in the group. So whenever like it's these types of songs where it's his voice, it's harmony, and then it mixes with someone with a rougher texture, I really love it. Like for example, his combination more specifically with Jin and Jo, I absolutely love. And like for this particular scene, he retains that, wait. Like for example, for this one, he retains that part, and then Shaw overlaps with a rap for that one, and just that combination is absolutely just, I don't know, addicting to me. I remember replaying this the other day because, you know, there's just a lot to unpack for this music video, and I just ended up, you know, just really like loving that moment, and I just kept on replaying that and just listening to that with my headphones on, just so, you know, I can listen to it very clearly, and I absolutely just love that part. And then again, choreography, you know, it's very like it's not exactly as like just, you know, like a lot of snap, but it's more focused on groove and energy, which I really enjoy, and it just really fits with the dynamic of the song. And this is just like a very high energy type of song. Like, I mean, I've talked about this before. Biases aside, I've never really been a huge fan of overly synchronized dancing, even not in kinpuri, but like just in general performances, because it kind of loses the individuality of each and every person dancing. And like this type of choreography, you know, it's not really more on synchronicity, but rather, you know, just showing the energy and just having that level of dynamic in between the members, and just them grooving to the song and everything, and the impact of their movements as they move, and then stomp their feet or just give those high heavy extensions and anything like that. So I really love this, and I think this song again really emphasizes that, and I really just enjoy it. And again, this is like the first video, even in their dance practice videos, the only time that I've seen show this expressiveness when it comes to his face whenever he's dancing was during the magic touch choreography video. But even then, it was more of like just this nice chill kind of like thing he has going on, which matches his dance style really well. But for this one, it's just a lot of expressions that even I'm so surprised by, and I'm not sure if it's because the choreography calls for it. He just genuinely loves this song because he got to work with another one of his idols for this particular song or anything like that. But he really owned his expressions and his movements in this video, and obviously as a shotan, that's really interesting and amusing for me to watch. And yeah. And this one is absolutely just my favorite part of it all. Just them grooving to the music, driving into the music. It's not overly complicated. It's just them bouncing to it, having fun, and that's the main essence of it, and just, I don't know. And I really love seeing Ren and Jin specifically look more into dancing, just having fun with it, and just because obviously I think one of the things is just getting really technical about things whenever it's complicated, and it goes for all the members as well. So to see them really exude that kind of like fun and not overthinking it, or at least as they project it in this particular music video, it's just really nice to watch as a fan, and I just absolutely love it. And if you know how these types of releases go, so they don't really release like the entire thing in their YouTube channel. It's the YouTube edit, because the full versions are gonna be on the albums themselves. So I'm pretty excited to see how this one goes, especially since in the teasers that they released, there are some parts that weren't in this particular video, and they also said that there's gonna be a different dance video for this, like a dance version that's going to be included in the album as well. So I'm pretty excited about that one. The album will also have like solo angles of the members, which is not exactly new when it comes to kinpuri content in their singles or their albums. So that's pretty exciting, and I'm actually really genuinely excited just checking that out, especially the solo angles for all the members, because considering like just how much fun they've been showing in this particular video, I want to see them grooving it out. But I feel like these types of choreographies, and I'm thinking if I should do one for their na dance practice choreography video as well. But these types of choreographies, you enjoy them more when you see it all together, like all the members, because it kind of has this like groove or exchange between the members that's happening in between the steps, and just how they connect. So it's kind of like interesting to see how that would translate in the solo angles or anything like that. But yeah, I just really love how this music video, this choreography turned out, especially when it comes to how well connected their movements are, and how on the same level their energy are, and it's just exuding with so much fun. It's quite interesting in terms of the views of this video. Like, I'm not like, I know that like personally for me, I'm not exactly into just constantly watching the views of the videos that my favorite artists put out or anything like that. I don't think most tiaras are also monitoring it as much, but what I noticed for this one is it's just growing rapidly. I mean, I watched this just for fun in certain moments of the day ever since its release, and I'm kind of surprised at the growth of the video, just especially since it was just like launched Sunday night. So yeah, like there's always this constant discourse about, you know, kinpuri sticking to their usual image versus them experimenting, which they've been doing constantly for the past couple of releases that they've had. But it seems like, you know, no matter what kind of like discourse goes on, people seem to still eat up this type of sound, which is really nice and interesting, considering that, you know, this is a direction that they actually really want to go to. Like the members have talked about it before, that they love their roots as Johnny's, but at the same time they also want to have this other image that really, you know, shows other things that they want to show and not really stick them into a particular stereotype. And that's always one of the things that I absolutely love about them. And so just seeing people react to this positively is also making me really happy as a fan. So yeah, now this video is so long. I didn't expect it to take this long. I feel like there's a reason why I just couldn't tweet these things, because there's so many things to just say, and I feel like people on Twitter would probably get annoyed with me if I end up, you know. So yeah, so I just put out this particular video and I hope that you enjoy it. Tell me down in the comments below, what are your thoughts? Did you like this video? Is this your cup of tea? I know that a lot of people, this isn't exactly their type of music, but what are your thoughts on the other elements that you've seen in the music video? I would love to have a chat with you guys down in the comments below about it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in a new one.